Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of the viewers. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of correlation and regression, we will be taking a look in the price action development so far during the European trading session for currencies, various currency crosses, and along with that, we will also be considering the equity markets. What has happened so far is likely to help us in figuring out the opportunities going ahead into the US trading session. So let us now head to the JForex for the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. There is the AUD USD chart drawn on the 5-minute candlestick time frame with this range being drawn for the 4 hours and 2 hours respectively, and these average prices have been added for last 1 hour and 2 hours respectively. Pardon me. So here, if we consider the price action data so far for the AUD, the dollar seems to be on the weaker side. The US dollar has mostly lost ground against most of the major currency peers. So if we go back to the Asian trading session, the momentum turned bearish for the US dollar, and at the expense of dollar, most other currencies have gained. So here we saw the AUD clocking in gains of around 20-25 pips earlier in the day, and as the European trading session began, we saw those gains consolidating and again compounding, with now the day's gain standing close to or above even 50 pips. So far, the strength has remained intact, so it will be interesting to see how things shape up moving forward. Right now, there's AUD/USD seems to be in a consolidation phase now. It hasn't moved much. It has continued to trade in this narrow range of around 15 pips for last 4 hours after making this high. This fresh high was made, but since then the side price action has simply gone sideways. So the underlying momentum still remains bullish, but it is now more of an consolidation phase with the bias remaining on the bullish side. But we will have to watch out on the lower side. It shouldn't really break too much on the lower side. Or if it does go on to correct, then the immediate swing low is going to be important. So as long as it is able to hold below above this swing low, till then we can be fairly confident of the further rally on the upside, maybe later in the day or next trading session. So let us now start comparing the price action with each other for these various currencies, including the Euro USD, NZD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, USD JPY, USD CAD to get a good idea of the momentum, and then draw a relative correlation in which we can figure out which one is the strongest bet on which side. So if we look across the various currency crosses, we can see that US dollar is on the back foot. It has lost ground against most of the currencies, but there are some currencies which are showing substantial gains, whereas for other currencies there is a lag. So if we take the case of GBP USD, it has now moved to the fresh daily high. So right now it seems to be the one with the strongest of the bullish momentum. Though if we go back in time, that was not the case during the start of the European trading session, where it simply consolidated after these substantial gains during the Asian trading session. But since then, it has now again resumed its upward march, and it is kind of leading. So if we look at its low, 4 hourly low, which was formed at 9:30 GMT, afterwards it changed the corner, and in 1 hour it turned around and went on to form this fresh swing high, and since then it has continued to make these higher highs. So if we compare it to the AUD USD, we can draw the inference that the GBP USD has been on the stronger side after this initial decline. Though it made this low, the GBP USD made low, swing low after AUD, but it turned around, and since then the gains have been substantial. So from that point of view, simply looking at the magnitude of the gains, the AUD USD seems to be lagging to the GBP USD. And if we compare it to the Euro USD, then The Euro USD seems to be the weakest of all these three currencies. The Euro USD made this 4 hourly high quite earlier, but it wasn't really able to sustain this momentum, and then it gave up its gains. So for today's session, if all these three currency crosses are compared, we have the Euro USD, which is a laggard of all these three. So if you are going for any trade in which you expect the dollar to remain on the weaker side, then for the time being, the GBP USD seems to be the best bet. And if you expect these rally, which we are seeing in other currencies, to now stall and dollar to start gaining strength, in that kind of scenario, the Euro USD is seemingly a better idea to go short on. So it depends on how things play up. For the time being, the momentum is still on the dollar side. But if we have the Euro USD holding on the lower side, and if it doesn't really cross above this prior swing high, in that scenario, after due consolidation, we can change our outlook and start looking for short selling opportunities, particularly in the euro, not in the GBP USD or AUD USD. Let us see the developments for the AUD USD, the NZD USD. NZD-USD is following the similar trajectory. It continued to make these higher highs along with the other currencies like AUD-USD and the GBP-USD. And similar to the case of AUD-USD, it is now also in a consolidation phase. So here also the same outlook holds. We have to pay attention to these prior swing low established around 0.6130, and unless and until that prior swing low breaks, I think the momentum is still fairly bullish. So we have to get ready for any opportunities which might come our way after due consolidation. So if it corrects somewhat from this level, and if it is able to hold and consolidate above this prior swing low, then I think in that scenario also we can go for the fresh trade on the hope of continuation of the bullish momentum later in the day. So that remains a preferred bet for the case of NZD. Also, NZD seems to be leading the AUD. If we compare the timing of this high formation, the NZD is having the lead. And even if we look at this decline, slight decline, which we are observing now, even in that case, the AUD is leading. So the best case for going long in against the dollar, or if you are trying to short the US dollar, then the GBP should be the first preference, and afterwards we have this strong bullish momentum in the NZD USD, whereas euro is seemingly on the weaker side. Now let's invert the scale as we consider these three currency crosses of USD CAD, USD CHF, and USD JPY, where the first currency is the dollar. So we have to invert and see how this decline in dollar is playing out in these currencies. For USD JPY, USD JPY has been one of the strongest or weakest, whichever way you look at it. JPY has been the strongest, and US dollar has been the weakest in these currency cross. We saw this formation of the fresh swing low around 10:25 GMT. Afterwards, it declined substantially with gains of the decline of around half a percentage point. And since then, it has gone into this consolidation phase where it is now trying to make a fresh swing high, but this is not really a decisive moment. We will still have to wait it out, and I think even now, if we see this correction deepening further, we might still get a trading opportunity later in the day if it doesn't really break above this prior swing high, which is kind of quite high compared to the current price. So even if this correction deepen and if we see the USD GPY climbing somewhat higher, then even in that scenario, after due consolidation, we can still keep looking for short selling opportunities. So the things are not really looking like a situation where we can expect the turnaround in the USD GPY. So the momentum majorly remains on the bearish side, and keeping you up with that, we can still keep looking for short selling opportunities for USD JPY. But this is not looking like the good timing to get a fresh entry. First, we should allow it to rise at least to some extent to cover these prior lost ground, and after due consolidation we can then start to initiate the new short sell trade with higher probability of making money. For USD CAD, the things are pretty much in line with this trajectory of the USD JPY, but it is slightly on the stronger side compared to the JPY now. The JPY has gone on to make this fresh 4 hourly high, but USD CAD it is still struggling and holding below that level. So for further short selling, I think it will be preferable to keep looking for opportunities to short with further correction and consolidation. If it happens, then that is going to open up the new opportunities for us. Let's see the development for USD and USD is seemingly on the strongest side here. It has declined substantially from this immediate swing high, and right now it is one of the strongest bait against the dollar. If you are expecting the dollar to weaken further in that scenario, this USD CHF seems to be a good idea. But as I said, from this level also we will have to wait, and then if we get a good opportunity to go short in that kind of scenario, we can try to go for the fresh opportunities with expectation of the continuation of the trend for the bearish side for the dollar, and that means we are in a position to profit on the bullish side against the dollar with all these currency crosses being available for us to choose from. So we have to simply get the best instrument for the scenario, and in that case the GBP USD and the USD CHF are seemingly on the stronger side for the continuation of the trend. And if we expect some sort of turnaround in that scenario, the Euro USD should be a preferred bid. If we don't really see any further gains for the dollar, then in due course of time, the Euro USD being the weakest of the lot can be expected to go on to make a fresh swing low. Now let's turn our attention to the equity space. So we first see what's the development for the US equity futures. The US equity futures are trading with this bullish momentum. We have seen the US futures, the Dow Jones Industrial Futures, trading in a range bound manner. If we look at the yesterday's price action, the range was around 1 percentage point, which is lower than what we have seen in a typical day on most trading sessions in near past. So we have this condition where the Dow Jones Industrial Average is not really moving much, but the underlying momentum is strongly on the bullish side with this formation of a fresh swing high just a while back. So let us now compare it to what the price action data is telling us for other equity indices. For S&P 500, the things are equally bullish, if not more. So let me compare the timings of these highs and lows formation to figure out which one is the stronger of the two. And if we look at its swing high formation, we get the idea that Dow Jones Industrial Average is actually leading the charge here. The Dow Jones is slightly on the bullish side compared to the S&P 500, which is also in bullish trajectory, but the strength of the momentum is much more stronger for the Dow Jones Industrial Average compared to the S&P 500. And in case of Nasdaq is the laggard of the three. In last session, also yesterday's session, we saw the bearish inclination being prevalent for the Nasdaq. So It is continuing with the similar price action today also. We don't really have strong bullish momentum in the Nasdaq. Rather than that, we have a better suited instrument in the Dow Jones Industrial Average if you want to keep looking for buying opportunities in today's session. So we have the opportunity to go long in the Nasdaq, but we will have to pay attention to this situation where we have to consider these price action data and then trade accordingly. Just a minute. Now let's resume. Sorry for the interruption. So coming to the U.S. equity futures, let's consider the European equity futures now. Here, the price action has been quite volatile. We saw after the start of the European trading session, there is a slight decline. Then those losses were reversed pretty soon, and there's sharp rise of more than 1 percentage point. But those gains were not really sustained, and then we have got here extended consolidation with a very little range for last 2 hours. We have this range which has been pretty shallow, and as the US session is going to get underway, we are seeing some signs of gains, and we can expect the DAX to gain further as in line with this bullish momentum prevalent in the US equity future. So we will have to get ready and see if we see the DAX holding above this immediate swing low of 14,340, then we have the chance, or you can say we have higher probability of seeing the DAX climbing back on the higher side. So it will be interesting to see how things shape up as the US session is going to begin. But for any trade, I think the momentum is strongly in the bullish phase for US equity futures compared to the DAX. For DAX, the momentum is, of course, on the bullish side, but it is likely to stay within this range, and it is highly probable that even if it goes on to rise, it might prefer to stay within the range given this magnitude of decline and those losses being sustained. But for the time being, the momentum seems to be on the bullish. As long as this prior swing low holds, we can be fairly confident of the continuation of this prior bullish trajectory for the DX as well. Now we move to the FTSE 100. For FTSE 100, we have the gains after this correction and consolidation, and it seems to be leading compared to the DX. We have the DX which is lagging. There also the gains are visible, but for FTSE the momentum is slightly on the stronger side, and in case of CAC 40 had declined somewhat on the larger scale, but after that it soon reversed course, and right now it is also in a situation where it is trying to erase prior gains and start freshly on the upper side. So all these three European equity indices are also showing the bullish tendency along with the US equity futures. But for any fresh initiation of the trade, I think the first preference should be given to these US equity futures, where in particular we have slightly stronger bullish tendency in the case of Dow Jones Industrial Average. And if you then want to take the trade as a backup, or if you are not really confident of this momentum being sustained in case of Dow Jones Industrial Average. In that scenario, you will have to wait it out, and if we get any sort of reversal and formation of a fresh swing low for the DAX on the lower side. In that scenario, I think you can then change your outlook and start looking for short selling opportunities. But as things stand at the moment, the things are slightly on the bullish side. So we should keep up with the momentum and keep looking for opportunities which are in line with the momentum. Let us also take a look on the commodity side with the futures of light crude oil. All right, for light crude oil also, the momentum is firmly on the bullish side. So there is not much we can expect here. We will have to wait it out for some correction on the lower side and then consolidation. Only in that scenario, I think it would be a good bet to initiate the new long trades right now. The momentum is bullish, but it seems like that train has left the station. So it will be a higher risk trade to take at the moment. For comparative purposes, we can compare it to the Brent future. So let me see where is the Brent. Brent is not included. So I will add it from the CFD commodities. And here we have it. All right, so this is the chart for the Brent, and Brent is also on the bullish side. But it seems like that the light crude oil prices are having a stronger momentum, just relatively speaking, compared to the Brent's prices. So if you are looking for the trade to be initiated in this crude oil space, then I think the preferable bait should be the light crude oil compared to the Brent. Though the difference is not much, but still I think it will be preferable to go for the bullish trade in the light crude oil. So guys, that's all from my side for today's session. If you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. For trying out this newly released trading platform, the link has been included in the bio. So give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. So that's all from my side for today's session. I will be back tomorrow with the assessment of the market done anew for tomorrow's session. So do come back. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.